So I've seen it twice now. Because the first time I went to see it, it was on the day that it premiered, and I stayed through the credits because I was just like looking at my phone, and this woman from the theater came up to all of us who were sitting there through the credits, and she gave us like a ticket for another showing. Like, you know, it was like a free ticket basically. And it was only given to those who stayed through the credits, I think. I don't know. Might have been given to people outside too, but what a film, man. Holy shit. I mean...
Alright, so just fixed the audio. I'm sorry about that. Up until this point you've heard me talk. It's been very different audio, very bad audio, but I fixed it now. So like the Christopher Nolan films and like the Odyssey specifically is very much, I won't say tailored for a specific audience, but it is kind of a little bit, because I have a lot of female like colleagues that doesn't really dig Chris Nolan's films because it's so like, it's like, he just can't, for some reason he just can't write female characters. It's so like, they're always there to like fund, you know, be like to support the man's story in the films, and that's a place where I'm like, that's kind of lucky that I'm a guy, you know. It's always also lucky in different aspects, not to make this a gendered. I will say that that's his like, you know, primary weak spot. That, you know, it's very male based. That's always been my problem with his films, to be straight honest. Like, it's always like, and every dude that can't see this has got a problem, I feel like. If you're a guy and you're like, oh, I just love Chris Nolan, I just love Christopher Nolan, then you got to take a hard look at your masculinity, and you got to be like, the only woman I can kind of remind myself of here is Ellen Page, now Elliot Page, but Ellen Page's character in Inception. Cannot remember her name. At the time, her name. She is a transgender person, and she is now a man who is in the Odyssey. Mr. Elliot Page is in the Odyssey, playing Sinon, doing a wonderful job. Anyways, now I've said that. Woo! The thing is, if you're willing to like let that kind of fly by, you know, then you're gonna, I'm just saying, you have to be kind of like, you have to be aware of that problem in his films. And to be aware of it, you can be like, okay, you know, I'll just do the cinema run because of, you know, the scope of his films. And this fucking film is like the one. Like, this is like the film for Chris Nolan to make. You know, I feel like Homer was the guy who wrote the story 3,000 years ago. I feel like he wrote that story for Christopher Nolan, you know? Because holy shit, like, Odysseus is the perfect Chris Nolan protagonist. So when you look at it that way, and you're like, okay, fucking holy shit, dude. First film of all time in all of history ever shot completely on IMAX. And like, if you get the chance to see it in IMAX, it's this crazy big like format, so like you can just basically like gets all of your peripheral vision. But see a film shot for the IMAX theater in an IMAX theater is like really holy fucking fuck, you know? That's like, okay, that's the fucking cinema experience. Like,
we're framing within the Grangos, we're protecting everything for the widest aspect ratios.
wow.
But we're really not looking at the two-dimensional framing as much as we're positioning the camera in three-dimensional space. So we're moving the camera closer to be closer, we're moving it further back. We're always thinking about what's the relationship between the physical placement of the camera. So it's more of a three-dimensional idea of camera blocking and saying, what's the point of view? Are we looking over this character's shoulder? Do we want to be closer to this character or to that character? Not in terms of frame size. When you watch, a 70 millimeter presentation, widescreen like that, you're filling the peripheral vision with the edges of the screen. In 70 millimeter IMAX, you're also filling the top and bottom of the peripheral vision. But really the key information wants to be centered. And so rather than thinking in terms of a geometric, two-dimensional, compositional frame, we tend to think in terms of a three-dimensional relationship between where the camera is and where we want the audience to be in relation to that.
And then you can talk all you want, you can do all the Quentin Tarantino rant shit about movies is not what they used to be, and back in my day it was only you can only see a 35 millimeter print on this and 60 millimeter and fucking Ennio Morricone shit, And then you watch the Odyssey in IMAX and you go, fuck that. Cinemas is alive and breathing so much that you can't even fathom how much it's back. It's not back. It never left. It's so stupid. That whole argument is so stupid. The thing I wanted to record me saying when I started recording myself here was that I'm so happy that I get to witness this, coming out. I'm so happy that it feels like this. I don't know if many of the viewers, people watching this, know of Lawrence of Arabia and David Lean and the grand films back in the day. Lawrence of Arabia is this 3.5 hour long film that was shot with fucking 20,000 people in the desert, and it was it was the biggest film of all time, and Steven Spielberg watches it once a year because he's obsessed with it, has been since he was 14. And when you grow up nowadays in the film community and you want to be a filmmaker, then all you get told all the time is that, back in the day films was much better, and back in the 60s that was the golden age. No, actually back in the 20s with the talkies, when you didn't have the silent films with Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin, that was real film. That's all you get told on the internet, at least. And it's so then you go to see this film and you're fuck all of that, because we get the Odyssey. We get to see this is fucking David Lean, but 100 times better. I've watched Lawrence of Arabia. It took me 3 days to get through because I had to stop and go out and take some food every half an hour because it was slow moving. It was so slow. Not to say that Lawrence of Arabia isn't a good film. It's a wonderful masterpiece. I will say, whether you're a man or a woman, I think you should go see the Odyssey, just because this is I've been telling all my friends over text, that they should go see it because it's the biggest it's the biggest film of the year, that's for sure. Maybe Backrooms and Obsession might, that was such a phenomenon that we might remember that more. But this film is it feels like the film of the decade. It's this might be what we're gonna remember 50 years from now. We might be remembering the Odyssey, Chris Nolan's The Odyssey, with Matt Damon playing Odysseus. So just to everybody watching, and oh no, I forgot that this is coming out 2 months after the film. I might do a quick cut of this and then put it online, just so people can like see it, you know, because I do want to rave about, you know, going to see the film. So yeah, I think I think maybe, I'm not a woman, I can't speak on the behalf of a gender I'm not a part of, but I think if you're a woman and you're watching this film, you're gonna go, this is just a bunch of dudes running around, you know? It's just fucking this Odysseus guy. It's just running around with all these fucking guys. Killing guys, you know, and, you know, there is Penelope and Hathaway's character, she does a wonderful job. I think okay. So, but with all that said, as I said before, I'm repeating myself now. I do think that you should go see it. Because once again, it's gonna be a legendary film. It's gonna be like, you know, The Godfather, or it's gonna be one of those where you're sitting around a dinner table, some guy says, like 20 years from now, some guy says, you know, it's like in the Odyssey, and you're gonna say, I actually haven't seen that, and everybody's gonna go, what? You haven't seen the Odyssey? You know, it's gonna be one of those kind of films, I think, maybe, who knows. Also, on a different note here, this film, to me, very much to me, I think people maybe disagree with me on this, but it is leagues, and I'm talking leagues above Oppenheimer, to me. I was kind of on the fence about Oppenheimer. That is really just a bunch of dudes sitting around in a room talking shit, you know? And it's not that I don't appreciate the filmmaking. I think the filmmaking is like, and Jennifer Lame, talk about Jennifer Lame, man, holy fuck. Like, Oppenheimer editing is the editing. Also, the score in that film is insane, but I just didn't really, it wasn't really my type of film. And The Odyssey really is my type of film. I am a sucker for hero's journey. I mean, I will suck the toes of Odysseus, man. I will get down and dirty on that guy. And you know, Chris Nolan made him run through the sand, you know, delve into the dirt, run around, you know, get all freaky, you know. He was at the freak off party, and I was there with him, you know. Every guy seeing The Odyssey is gonna be at the freak off party. And so what I want to say with all this is basically go watch The Odyssey, because it's gonna be also on a different, like, just an ending note here. Gonna quote Chris Stuckman. Get ready to get Stuckmanized. They hear us through our wallets. You know? So everybody keeps talking about shitty films that gets made nowadays, and, you know, all the Netflix films, and like there's no pure artistry left. But that's because you're not going to the fucking cinema. It's because you're not going to the theater. I could yell about this for 5 fucking days. Spend your money on where you want to see the films. What films you want to see. Go see Backrooms. Go see Obsession. That whole phenomenon has, like, you know, it's basically a fucking testament to these big ass Hollywood producer guys, the shittiest of people. Maybe, you know, these people that is sitting on all the money and deciding where it goes to. They hear us through our wallets. They hear us through what film you go to watch. Even if it's only you doing it. It's truly like, I get so angry when people say that, you know, that movies is so out, you know, fucking the whole Quentin Tarantino thing again. And like, you know, back in the day it was like, and now theater is only this show pony. No, it's fucking not. Just go to the film. Just go oh God. Can I do this? Damn. What the? So yeah. That's how I feel about that. I hope I got my point across. I'm not gonna rate the Odyssey. I don't do ratings. I don't like doing ratings. But I loved it. I will say that much. Even though I do wish Chris Nolan would write a female character someday that isn't just for the guys in the film. You know? Yeah. Okay. Peace, love, and harmony. Catch you on the next one. And hey, thanks for watching. I'll do an outro now. I haven't done one of those in a very long time. But yeah, I think I might edit this into like a little Odyssey movie review. All right.